Okay. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Hello, this is LordUg. Welcome to State of Decay 2. So this video is going to be a little bit different because what I'm going to do is, this isn't the next one in the series I'm doing. I actually just want to address what people are saying about the game. I kind of addressed it a little bit in the last episode, but I want to give it a little bit more explanation, what I've found playing the game. I decided to start a second community up and really start to push it, just to see what people were saying, and I've got opinions, a few more opinions since, and also I want to give some tips that I think might be helpful to you when you start the game. This is only for starting the game. Like I say, I'm not very far through myself, so they might not be relevant as time goes on. But at the start, yeah, I think I can give you a couple of tips that will help out and tell you a few things that do help as well. So let's get into that. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about first before we actually get into my thoughts about the game and tips and things like that, I want to talk about, for those that don't know, if you've just been following the story, you can also pick to start a new community and not do the tutorial, which means you don't meet the doctor and the soldier and you don't have to cure your partner, because you don't start with that. Instead, what you come to is this, where you choose the survivors you want, and you can actually do a re-roll at the bottom here to make the stats different. So if we look here, you can see it covers the cardio, wits, fighting and shooting that everybody has, but then of course they have an extra at the bottom, which can be one of many things. I mean, here we just have medicine and TV trivia, and the third one doesn't have one. But if you press on this symbol here, as you can see, it randomly changes. It changes the skills, the stats, and even in some cases gives them this. Now, personally, I look for one with medicine, that's good at medicine, one that's good at gardening, because you're going to need food early on, and one that I wanted, that I thought is best, is craftsmanship, because that's building, of course. I mean, there are many different kinds, of course. I know you can get mechanics, and you can get chemistry, utilities, and also on cooking, and you might decide on other ones, but personally, I like to go for those three. So I go for medicine, garden, and craftsmanship. And of course, at the same time, it takes a while. You might be sat for a good half an hour just clicking these buttons, but you can actually get 3 decent survivors to start off with. So I'll just do that. You won't actually see this, to you it'll be the blink of an eye, but I'm just going to quickly set up 3 to give you an example. Okay, so as you see, I've got 3 here that have been done, and they cover the 3 I said. Now, each one, I would actually take time to find even better than this, but if you look at each one, Tim here, he's got at least something on cardio, something on wit, something on fighting, something on shooting, but then he's got 4 on craftsmanship, which means he's already quite advanced, and he can take something, he can build something up to a level 4, as he goes, as his crafting kind of thing. So that's it. I always try and make sure I've got something on every single stat. So with Tiffany, of course, we've got 3 cardio, 2 wits, we've got fighting, shooting, all got something, but there we go again, 5 on medicine. So she could take the infirmary up to 5. And then I would actually carry on with CJ. I wouldn't class that as good enough, because only 1 on gardening, I wouldn't want that. I want at least 3 or 4 on gardening as well. So, but still, I just wanted to show you, we've got something on cardio, wits, fighting, shooting again, and then I've got something on gardening as well. So that is how you'd start the game. Then you just start up, and you'll start up in about one of, I think, 3 different locations. One of them actually being the place you do start up if you do the tutorial, and you'd pick the plateau. I think it's actually the 3 places you can actually go to: the foothills, the plateau, and the valley. I think they're the 3 that you actually kind of randomly go to. But either way, that's how you can start the game up if you want to start with your own community and start with 3 characters that actually are very good right from the start. So there you go. So this is the game I'm kind of playing on my own right now, and I'm going to use this to show you a few things, to give you the tips I'm going to give you at the start of the game. Remember, this might not help later on, but at the start it might help. So tip number 1, I'm going to show you. I just need to get to a certain location. I'll be right back. Okay, so tip number 1 is about searching. Of course, we all know if you hold, well, I'm using the Xbox controller, so if you hold Y down, you do a normal slow search, which takes a while, and people don't always like because they want to get them done. But the problem is, if you hold, say, the LB button down, the left block button, it speeds up the search, but it can make a crashing sound because you're kind of careless while you're searching. So what you can do is, what I tend to do is, I do a little bit of both, because I noticed while doing the left bumper, it tended to be in the second half more than not, where it made the noise, the second half of the search, past halfway. So what I started to do was, I started to search and then give the left bumper a quick tap, just to speed it up a bit, so I kind of don't take it, and it will still sometimes trigger the loud noise, but more often than not, it actually doesn't. So you get a little bit of a quicker search, but you don't get the full speed one, but it's faster than the slow search. So it's a bit like this. You see, all I did was just press it quickly, and it just speeded it up. It filled in about 4 or 5 of those little marks. See? And then I just leave it to do it on its own speed now, the rest of the way.
Empty.
So I kind of got to land it in between. I don't do one or the other, I do both. And, you know, as long as you don't push it too far, there's less chance of it triggering. So there you go, that's my first tip. Just give that left bumper a quick tap and just help yourself out a little bit. Right, tip number 2. As you know, you can stealth, so we can sneak round, and the zombies don't get to you. The problem is that can take a while for you to catch up to a zombie. Like this zombie over here. I don't want to run after him because he'll hear me coming, but he's walking away and it's taking a while for me to catch. So what you do is, if you hold the lunge button, the dodge button, you'll do, let me come down, and you push him forward, you'll do a lunge. Like that. Don't tap it, because if you tap it real quick, you'll just stand up. So keep it pressed until you've started your lunge, then let go. Now what this does is, it has the thing of catching you up to a zombie quite quickly. Now yes, it does use stamina, so don't start using it until you're getting pretty close to them. And then just lunge. And before you know it, you force them up and you can take them down. So that one saves me quite a lot of time, because I like to kill with stealth if there's a lot of them, and it does, and that makes it so I can approach them a lot quicker by doing that. But one thing I will tell you, and this is important, do not use it if you're in front of them, because then they see you. For instance, he can't see me right now, look, he's not coming towards me, but if I lunge, see, he's seen me. So it only works if you're behind them. If you do it in front of them, you actually give yourself away. So make sure you get behind them, and then you can catch them really quickly and kill them. So that's my second tip. The third tip isn't actually one I'm going to show you. It's one I'm going to quickly talk about with you, and that is I don't use a workshop in the starting. Let me just get this zombie. I don't use a workshop. Did I just do one in front of another zombie? No, I didn't. Thought I had, because, like I say, they see you quite early if you do this in front of them. Right. So I don't use a workshop at the start when I'm setting up my base at the start, because. Okay, here's my thinking. The only reason I usually use a workshop is because round about level 2 or 3, you can make a suppressor for your guns. And then it's very, very handy. Very handy. But until then, the workshop doesn't seem to have a massive use for me. I didn't really use it, and I've tried this a couple of times now, Now, so when you start at your base, you usually have 3 empty slots. Oh, there's a blood plague one.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Oh no!
Oh, you ferals think you're so quick. I'm almost out of fight.
They do my
One left. And I'm out. Ooh.
Whew! They get annoying, they do. Sorry, I'm going to have to go back with this one now. I didn't see it was a feral, to be honest with you, or I'd have been swept a bit wider. So there you go, you got a feral kill, a quick feral fight there on the while I was doing this. So anyway, as I was saying, I don't start with a workshop because here's my thinking. You're going to need a garden. Usually you have 3 outdoor spaces. You're going to need a garden for food. Food seems to be something that is always short on this game. So you're going to need food. There's the food. You're going to need an infirmary because people might catch the blood plague. You're going to need this. So what do I use as the 3rd open area? Well, as you know, when you start the game, you've got a place with 4 beds, and you've got you've got a place with 4 beds, and then you've got a place that's got a master bedroom. Where is it? Here, and then you've usually got 3 outside spots. You can't build in these areas, or you've got your communications room, and you can't really build in these places. They're already built in. So the only places you can build is outside in these areas. So once you've done an infirmary and a garden, you've got 1 space left. And like I say, a workshop never really did well for me in what I've seen. So I usually use this spot as a bed to do a couple more beds. Because you might not use the workshop, but you will still pick people up and join them to your community. So you will need beds. Now the other way to get beds is with outposts. Now, I've seen a bit of confusion about this, so I'm going to explain something about outposts as well. Outposts give you a couple more beds, usually. Now, that doesn't mean you have to assign people to those beds. So you don't send survivors to the outpost to stay there and sleep and look after it. All it does is kind of just adds to a collective pool of beds that you have. Now, it's always important you have enough beds for your men, or you'll start to lose morale badly if they haven't got beds. So make sure, I'm just taking it back to thinking. So make sure that you have enough beds for all of your survivors. So do an outpost. Then remember, you've got to upgrade your command center. If you upgrade your command center, you can then you can do another outpost and get another couple of beds. It's better to do that. Also, don't forget to upgrade your bedroom area. It will add another bed there as well. Beds are the thing you need if you're going to keep adding people. Beds and food. So that's why and medicines. That's why you need to make sure you've got the infirmary, the garden, and the extra bed space. Eventually you will move to a bigger place, obviously. But until then, you're going to be short for these things. So, no workshop. This is just my tip. If you want a workshop, use one. This is just what I feel for me, how I play the game. So for me, no workshop, and use those 3 things. Now, that's all I'm going to do for tips, because I don't actually want to go too deep into doing tips, because at the end of the day, you'll want to work some of this out yourself, and you don't want spoilers and things, so I'm not going to go too deeply into it. So let's get on to my thoughts about the game. So the main thing that I don't agree with is how people keep saying it's really like the last one. It's like a repetitive of the last one. Well, it is. I'm not going to argue that, but that's because every game is. Not just games. Movies are the same. Look at Jaws. It's a giant great white shark that tries to eat people. Jaws 2. It's a giant great white shark that tries to eat people. Child's Play. It's a doll with called Chucky that's after Andy. Child's Play 2. Oh, it's a doll called Chucky that's after Andy. Go on to games. Assassin's Creed. Oh, it's an assassin that jumps around killing people with his blades from his wrist and fights with a sword also. Go to Assassin's Creed 2. It's a guy, different time zone, yeah, but he's got them activated knives on his wrist and fights with his sword again. He's an assassin. You can do this with any game, movie, or anything. If you're going to start saying they're repetitive, it's because they show the traits of the earlier game that makes it so it's the sequel or the next one on. If you actually change it completely, if you send, like I think I mentioned in another video, if you gave Assassin's Creed and you turned him into walking around with a sniper and a machine gun and that, it's not exactly Assassin's Creed, is it? It's not. It'd seem like a completely different game. And it's same with this. If you change too much, it's not going to be the same game. And they have put some things in. They have changed some things about. But you can't change it too much or it'll be a different game. So when people are going, oh, it's just repetitive, it's exactly the same. No, that's just stupid. It isn't. And I've played this game for a bit now. I've searched, and I've finished, like I said, I finished the second one twice. I've finished the first one twice. So I'm a big fan of this game. And I've loved this one. I don't know why it's just stuck on that screen. It's supposed to be going back to menu, but I don't know. It's done that. It's done that once before, but it's okay. You can just read all tips that you get at bottom anyway. You can read those, but still. So of course it's repetitive to some extent. That's expected, and that's why it's called State of Decay 2, the second one, because it's similar to the first. And it's like any game that has the sequel has always got to hold quite a few things from the first one to make it so it's like it is the second in the series. It makes sense. If I had to be honest, I haven't had too much that I've actually disliked about this game yet. I find it isn't easy. The resource managing can be quite hard, in fact. I've heard some people say, oh, this is easy, I've hardly been hit. Yeah, well, go and take out a plague heart and see if you don't get hit. And you've just seen there, get one of those fast-moving pieces of shit after you and try beating one of those up. Them ferals are mental. You know what I mean? And you just can't, and they just take so much killing. So, try getting one of them after you and you'll soon realise you've been hit. While other people I've seen have had quite a hard time playing this, and they've had a lot of trouble. So I suppose it's just how the cards fall. I've heard some people say the game's exactly the same if you replay it a second time. Well, it isn't. It is if you use the tutorial section, but it isn't if you skip the tutorial, because then you can change the stats of the person to whatever you want, and so that you'll get different people every time, and they can have different stats and abilities, and they can concentrate on different things. And all in all, I can't fully say to the end yet, because I'm not there. You've just seen the game I'm playing. I'm not exactly miles ahead of where I am on my TV, on my videos that I'm doing for you. I'm still in the same kind of area. But from what I have played, I can honestly say this game has proven to be really, really good and a hell of a lot of fun. And I've seen a lot of people who have played it say it's fun. Most of those people that are saying, oh, it's repetitive, tend to be those that are watching people play it. From the people I've seen play it, most people seem to think it's a lot of fun. Whereas those that are just sat watching are usually the ones that are going, oh, this is repetitive and boring. It's like, well, don't watch it then. Don't watch it. Don't play it. Nobody's forcing you to. Goodbye. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to clear up this repetitive thing because I know I have actually had a couple of messages, well, a couple of emails actually from different people who have said, yeah, is this game worth buying? Is it worth playing? I've heard it's repetitive. So I just wanted to clear that up. It is to some degree repetitive. All games are that are a sequel, but it has got enough fun, it's got enough new things and enough interest to make it worth playing. For me personally, would I say buy this game? Absolutely. It's not even like it's a hugely priced game. It's actually a good low price. You know, it comes in at quite a low price for the game it is. So I'd tell anybody to try it, to buy it and play it and have fun with it. You'll love it. At least I do so far. And if that changes or whatever, maybe when I've played it a few more days or whatever, or a week, whatever, then I might do another one of these reviews of it and see if my opinion's changed. But as things are right now, I definitely think it's worth buying and enjoying. So anyway, thanks for listening, guys. There'll be another video. The next one in the series will be up tomorrow. You take care. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.